The Herbalife Broadcast Network is proud to present Kurt and Cindy O'Connell's 5-part training series. Today is Part 1, Business Fundamentals.
Hello, everybody. We're Kurt and Cindy O'Connell from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And what we want to do here today, this is actually going to be the beginning of a series of trainings that we want to do on the business. From the beginning, from the fundamentals of the business all the way up to as you're growing through some of the different levels in Herbalife. We just want to cover what are the important things to incorporate into your business and some of the things you can learn from some of our experience over the years to just help you grow.
Yeah, we started the business in 1996, and when we first started the business, there was a confusion level for us as far as, what kind of a business are we in? How much time should I spend in retailing? How much time should I spend recruiting people? How much time should I spend in training? And all the different things, we weren't exactly sure on a lot of the critical points of the business, and it took some time and lessons of learning along the way what kind of business we were really in. And once we got that down, we were able to go through our business much more quickly. And that's kind of what we wanted to share with you is some of the simple basics and fundamentals of our business. And hopefully if you get that down, you'll go a lot faster than we did.
And one thing really to keep in mind, I remember when we first started our business, there was a little bit of I got a few weeks into it, and I remember I started getting a little overwhelmed, thinking, boy, there's so much here to learn. And really, it isn't. This business, you'll hear it said that this business is fun, this business is simple, this business is magical. It really, really is. You don't have to be afraid about it being overcomplicated. If maybe you're new, you're a couple weeks old into your business, maybe a couple months, and some of what we're going to cover today might seem like a lot, but I'll tell you, it really isn't. I kind of think I liken it to before I knew how to read. I mean, there was a time in your life when you didn't know how to read or write, right? And I think about that. A child, can you imagine what it's like the first time you had to read, the first time you saw a book and before you knew how to read? And what would the thought of learning how to read be like? I mean, I'd think as a child, gee, could I ever really know how to learn how to read? Like the letter A, don't even know what it is. But so it might seem complicated to a child, but the thing is, it isn't. When they learn it one step at a time, first we teach the alphabet, then we learn how to incorporate the alphabet into words that we can, in no time, learn how to read and write. In fact, today, as adult, many people, I know Cindy, you love to read for leisure. Mm-hmm. It's fun, okay? But at one point, it might have seemed a little hard. It isn't. I mean, as sure as you can learn how to read and write, you can learn the fundamentals of this business and apply them. Mm-hmm. So what we want to go through, today's topic is going to be the fundamentals of the business. And by the fundamentals of the business, we mean really just those basics that are a foundation that will always be there no matter what and no matter when and where you grow into your business. Maybe you want to take it to a level of supplementing your income. Maybe you want to have a serious part-time income. Maybe you want to create wealth and create a residual income that just keeps on coming. Doesn't matter. These fundamentals will always be the foundation to that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the fundamental number one. The first question would be, what kind of a business am I in? I know, in fact, when we first started, I was a little bit confused over that because they call it network marketing, they call it multi-level marketing. What does that really mean? We talk about retail, we talk about recruiting. Well, here, the business we're in here is really the business of, there's a word we're going to use, we're going to teach you on, that's called duplication. Although, what is retail? Retail in concept is like if you go to a grocery store and you want to buy something off of the shelf, say bread, milk, they give you the product. As long as you give them money, you can take the product back, and that's how they make their profit. Okay, that's what retail is. Sale of a product gives you profit. Well, that's one form of income that's available in this business, and we'll talk about where that really comes to play. Now, there's a second form of income available in this business also, and that's foundationally what we would call royalty income, okay? And royalty income has some pretty serious power to it as far as how large that can get. And royalties are, what would be a good example of royalties?
Well,
for-
like Elvis Presley. Everybody's heard of Elvis Presley or the Beatles or anybody famous like that who's written composed music, written a song or a book. Every time that their book is purchased or their song is purchased or played, they receive a residual income from that. They actually receive a royalty, and every month in the mail they get a check from their publishing company that says, "Thank you for letting us use your song. We made some money. You made some money here," and that's an example of a royalty income.
So something like when you do the work up front, that it's a kind of work that you can continue to get paid on time and time again after the work's done. I mean, Elvis Presley certainly isn't writing CDs anymore, and but someone's getting paid. Someone in his
His family.
still continuing to get paid every time a CD plays. So that's the concept there. That kind of income is available to you in your Herbalife business. Similar to that, we'll explain how that works. It's pretty phenomenal. So let's go through that. So what kind of a business am I in? Let's call it a business of duplication. Where does the money come from? Let's expound more on those two areas.
Yeah, because when we first started, we saw the bigger picture. We really understood that concept of royalty income, residual income, and that appealed to us very much, as it probably appeals to you. And so we understood that we needed to bring in distributors into our business if we wanted to have our royalty income grow. But we also knew the importance and the value of retailing products and finding customers. But we didn't know really how much value each one had. Was it more valuable to have distributors in my organization or my business than it was to have consumers? Or was it more valuable to have consumers in my business than to have distributors? And that becomes confusing, because if you don't understand the whole picture, you might end up focusing on one or the other. And if career level income is what you're after, it's important to understand where the value of all of that is in your business. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail about that. So you might want to go into a little bit about actually how is it that we get paid in this business? Where does the money actually come from? And once we understand that, I think all of it will tie in a lot easier.
Oh, that's really key. That's really important, because when we understand where the money comes from, I mean, sure, of course it comes from Herbalife. If I'm going to build a business and I'm going to develop an income from it, it comes from Herbalife. But where does Herbalife get the money from? And then how does the marketing plan distribute that money out to the distributors? Well, once you understand that now tells you where to focus. And we'll talk about that a little further down the road as far as how to set your goals, your financial goals for the business. But once you've established those, now how to work to develop that income is really important. Very important fundamental of the business. So let's go into a little more detail on those two forms of income we talked about. So really there are two. The money comes from, for you and I as distributors, it comes from two main areas. The first area is what we would call money that comes from sales profits and sales commissions. Okay, that was the example I gave about the grocery store. That's kind of a retail concept of sales. For instance, when we find a customer and help the customer get results on the products, they buy products from me, and because I pay less for those products from Herbalife, then I get them at a discount. I now sell it at full price to the customer, and there's my profit. That's a retail sales profit. So Cindy, you want to learn how to lose some weight? I can help you lose that 30 pounds. So let's get you started on the program here. I give you the program, you give me the money. That money's a little bit more than I paid for it, up to 50% more than I had to pay for it, which is great. And there's my profit. So now that's sales-based income. The more sales I make, the more money I make. So if I find one Cindy, I make so much money, as long as I help her get results and help her fall in love with the products. Can't wait to get into that. But if I find 10 Cindys, I make 10 times more money. If I find 20, if I find 30, that's the key there. And then there's also, so that's sales-based, two forms of sales-based. That's what we call a retail sale. Cindy needs to lose weight, or needs to get healthy, or wants more energy. Don't get limited to weight loss. We're a lot more than that. or wants to have more beautiful looking skin or wonderful cosmetics, whatever it is, I can make profits on that sale. Now that's one form. There's also what we call commissions. Don't get too hung up on that, but it's sales based. It means that as I sponsor a distributor, if that distributor is not a supervisor, and I am, then when that distributor makes sales, I have the potential of getting a sales commission on those. What's a sales commission? Any other industries that that's pretty common in?
Yeah, like if you were to sell a car or something like that, a commission is just another form of profit in the business, and we call commissions, it's more of a wholesale profit. Because if I'm a supervisor and I'm selling my products to my distributor, well, he's already at a discount level, I'm at a certain discount level, and the difference between our discount levels is the commission that I'm going to make. So we can make our product from actual retail sales, selling it full price to a customer, or a wholesale commission when I'm selling my products at a discount to a distributor of mine. So that's where we can get those forms of incomes.
So, and don't get too buried in the details of that.
There's a lot of
that's
details.
basically, here's the one point on that. That's a direct sales-based profit or commission. That's directly based on your sales or the sales of your immediate non-supervisor distributors. Now, if you don't understand that all, that's okay. Just understand the first point, sales-based. And as you learn and as you grow, study more about the marketing plan. When you go to the success training seminars, they'll teach you more. Herbalife has got a fantastic video on the sales and marketing plan. And as you grow in your business, you can study that in the career manual. I think for me to really fully understand all of the marketing plan took a year and a half or 2 years.
It's kind of a need-to-know basis. That's the way I look at it. It's kind of like, okay, sometimes when I hear information and it seems a little overwhelming to me or not quite grasping all of it, I think, well, you know what, there'll be a time when I need to know that. When I need to know that, I'll figure it out. Right now, what do I need to know? So I take what I need to know at the time, and as I'm stretching and growing and learning more, then I grasp the things that I need to know as they come down the road.
Absolutely. Okay, and then the second form of income is what we would call royalty income. Now, we mentioned that briefly. Royalty income is the income that has the potential to be truly residual in the way Cindy described before, meaning you can do the work and continue to get paid after the work is done. Provided you do it right, you can get paid potentially forever. How do you get paid royalty? Herbalife pays us royalty based on the volume produced by any supervisors we sponsor. Now, if you're not yet a supervisor, go study and find out what you need to do to get there. We're not going to get it. You can find that training on some of the other resources we mentioned about the marketing plan. But as you now become a supervisor, and you sponsor other people who become supervisors, the amount of volume they produce, Herbalife will pay you a percentage of their sales and a royalty every month. You're eligible for that. That's pretty phenomenal. The main difference you need to know about those two incomes at this point is that the sales, the income based on sales is really the amount of money you can make is dependent on how many customers you personally service. The more you service, the more income potential. Now, the royalty income has a pretty unlimited potential. By the end of this segment, you'll see why. It's because the power of duplication can really be developed in the royalty income. We'll show you in a little bit how that grows. Okay?
And just to expound on that point again a little bit too, is the sales are what you personally do, the royalties are income that you make from what other people, the efforts that other people do. So the sales commissions are basically your efforts, the royalty incomes are coming from your supervisor's efforts. And again, we'll show you how that all works in that power of duplication.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Royalties can come from the volume produced by your team of supervisors, where sales-based income comes from your team of consumers. Let's talk about that. Well, let's look at how this all works. There are three things each one of us can learn to do in this business. Now, if you learn how to do one of them, you'll get great product results. If you learn how to do two of them, you can create a really nice income for yourself. If you learn how to do all three of them, you can get rich. Okay? So the first thing we all need to do in this business is use the products. Now, I'm going to tell you, take a lot of notes here. Number one, use the products. This is a very key foundation to your ability to accomplish your goals in this business. Now, when we talk about use the products, there are a couple of different reasons why we want to use the products. But one is just because of the health and the lifestyle benefits we get from them. I mean, these products have changed my life. They've changed probably, many of you right now are saying, yeah, they've saved my life, but they're phenomenal. So that alone is a reason to use the products. But then from a purely a business standpoint, is when you use the products, the results you get teach you, that's the best training you can get on what these products do, is what they've done for you. You get a personal story that if you tell that story of what the products have done for you the rest of your life, you'll always be able to find customers the rest of your life. It's foundational. Plus, you'll also be able to help someone else get results.
And I think using the products is probably the simplest part of this business. I was a customer before I actually came into the business because, so I love the products. That was a no-brainer for me. But to me, when we first started the business, that was one of the fundamental things that our sponsorship told us too, was, you need to use the products. And we kept hearing that theme over and over and over again, from people who were very successful in the business. Always the number one thing to do in this business was use the products. And to me, again, that's the easiest part of this business. I can do that. I have complete control over what I put into my mouth or on my body. And when they told me I needed to do that, I did that. And there have been times that we sponsored people into the business who say they want to build a business, and they say, I really want to build the business, but I do not want to use those products, or I don't need those products, or I'm willing to take one or two products. And we really, really wrestle with them on that, because our belief is that if you really want to succeed in this business, you have to take the products. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, that's foundational too. Remember, we're in the fundamentals of the business here is what we're talking about. And that is a foundation. And this business is different probably than any other business that most of us have experienced. So for me, that was a little bit confusing. Why do I need to use the products to succeed? It didn't make sense to me. Because other businesses I've seen, I thought people could make it without, they don't necessarily have to be users of their own products. Well, I'll tell you what, if you don't understand it, just trust it, because in this business, that is a foundation. That is, you will not be able to reach the full potential. I don't think you could go anywhere very far at all in this business. I don't know any successful person in Herbalife who hasn't used the products. Do you?
No, it doesn't happen. So it is
a foundational must.
It's a fun, simple, magical sort of thing. Taking the products is fun, it's simple, and it is magical. And we're going to show you really in detail how that's going to translate into how you can build wealth into your own life with these products.
So those are a couple of reasons to use them. For your own personal health and lifestyle, then so that you know how to help other people get results on the products. And then there's a third reason that is really important. And I think maybe you've been in your business for a while. I think we were in our business for about two and a half years before we understood this third reason we all need to use the products. And this reason is absolutely critical to us reaching our full potential in this business. And that is because it supports the company that pays us. Okay? And let's try, don't brush this one off. This is really important for number one, you to learn, and then for your whole organization to learn. This is an area, I'm going to give you an example, and we're going to give you kind of a diagram, flow chart to show you how this works. But this is what I'd write this one down. It's called shifting consumer spending. Okay? How's this all work? You started this business for a reason. You have some kind of whatever your reason for starting this business is what I will call your dream, okay? So write down, if you haven't written that down, we'll talk about that a little later, but what is your reason and what will it take for you to achieve your dream in the business? Well, it's going to take some kind of an income, some kind of money, all right? Now, you've seen people being able to make all kinds of income in Herbalife, and that's what I call dream money. Okay, the money necessary for us to get our dreams. And we get that from the company. But here's my question is, where does Herbalife get the money, the dream money, to pay us for? So let's kind of talk about that for a minute. Now, before Herbalife, before you ever heard of Herbalife, you weren't using any of the products, right? I wasn't either. But there is a certain amount of what we call consumer spending that is happening in every household, virtually every household in America and many countries today. But let's just take the United States as an example. The average 3 or 4 person household in the United States right now is buying certain things that are predictable that they all buy. And that money is going to the company that produces those products. I mean, we're talking about products like Bath and Body products, nutritional supplements.
Chewing gum.
Yeah, things like that. In fact, we've got a list here of some of the products that Cindy's going to go into in a minute. But here's the concept I want you to catch. There are certain things that Herbalife right now has available to all of us that before Herbalife, we are paying somebody else for every single month. And the important thing here is that when we begin Herbalife, we start our business, we now need to make a commitment in our mind and in our lives where we say, I will go through my whole house, I will look at everything right now, every product in my house that Herbalife has available, but I'm currently buying from a competitor. I'm going to stop buying from a competitor. I'm going to clean my house out of that stuff, and I'm going to stop sending that money every month of mine to a competitor. I'm going to start sending it into my own dream money company, and that's Herbalife. And this is really key. Let's look at how that works. Let's take an example here.
Well, you know, Kurt and I and our family of 5 here, we use all of the products, so many of the products, and our children use the products, our pets use the products. I mean, we all use the products. There's no doubt about that. But what we did was we kind of looked at the Herbalife catalog, and we looked at our own, you know, cupboards, and kind of looked at very conservatively, what is an average family already, what are they purchasing? Not that they're going to go out and add something new to their grocery list, but what are we already purchasing? What are we already spending our money on? And we went through that catalog and really took a conservative list. And here's we just came out with a list of products here that everybody's using, that Herbalife does provide. And
they're buying it from somebody
right now. Okay, that's shampoo, conditioner, our Chew Slim gum. We've got soap. We've got bars of soap. We've got body washes. And we've got lotions.
In fact, that body wash, we use the
Ocean Currents body wash right in our
hand soap dispensers.
Hand soap dispensers. We put that in there.
I don't want to buy soap from Dial. I just don't.
You know, we're using hand lotions. We're all using fragrances. A lot of us are using children's vitamins right now, and many people are using their own personal vitamin, 1-a-day type vitamins. Hairspray, hair gel. What about cough drops? Long distance services, snacks. We've got protein bars, we've got nuts, we've got different drinks. We have different snacks that you can actually have. Of course, we have our color cosmetics, our Dermagetics, and we have our Dermagetic skincare. You know, and then there's even a couple things like vitamin C and echinacea, which are very, very popular products right now that most people are buying and have in their house. So just this list right here, again, this is just a very conservative list from the Herbalife catalog that people are already spending money on, okay? And so when we added all of that up, it came to about 150 volume points of products, US, you know, the volume points, okay? And of course, us distributors are getting that at a discount. But if you take that's for an average family of 4, that's 150 volume points every single month that people basically are spending at other places right now. And we can take that 150 volume points and bring it right into the Herbalife family, the Herbalife store, your store.
Now let's look at that on the flow chart for a minute before you go into the full figures. Let's really look, let's take an example of where this is going, okay? Because before we start Herbalife, remember, all of that this is really conservative. Cindy's saying about $150 worth of stuff. Most households, that list we went through right there, you're going to say 90% of that at least you were already buying, okay? Now who are you giving that money to? Well, you're giving it to places like Paul Mitchell or VO5 or Wrigley's for the chewing gum or Dial soap, or you get the picture, okay? Now, so if you look, we've got these consumers. We're all consumers before Herbalife, and where's that money going before Herbalife? It's going to those competing companies, okay? Now, when we take just that amount and we don't spend any more per month, we now want to shift it. This is, remember, the first thing we all need to do in this business, use of products. Follow where I'm going here. We now want to take that money out of those competitors and shift it so it's now start flowing into Herbalife. And so that it fills that dream money pool that Herbalife can then use in the marketing plan to pay back to us distributors. Now, this is very powerful, and I know what's going through some people's minds right now, because it went through your mind, went through my mind, is, well, what difference does it make? I'm only one person, you know? First of all, I tell you, when you try the products, I don't care what other competing products you're using right now, you are going to love these. These are top-notch, best you can get in every category. I challenge you to find a better product by one of these any other company out there. Secondly, you're going to get them at a phenomenal wholesale discount. But third, you're feeding that dream money pool for you and all of us as distributors. And you're thinking, though, that, you may be thinking, what difference does it make? Just one person. Well, you're going to see where that makes, in fact, what difference it makes, because this is truly a business of duplication. We're going to show you how that works. But if you go into this business and start sponsoring a group, they're going to do what you do. And we're going to teach them how to do what we do. And you're going to be setting an example also. And if you set the wrong example, tremendous amount of potential loss that you wouldn't even know about. You want to go into that?
Because really, when you think about it, again, important point, this is money that we're already spending. We're not telling anybody to spend more money, to dig deeper, to fork out more. You're already spending this, okay? That's a very important point to make. And the other thing is, and again, like Kurt says, who cares? Maybe when I get an organization, then I'll, talk to people about doing this. Right now, it doesn't really matter because I'm just one guy, or maybe I'm world team and I got a couple of people underneath me, and you don't quite see yet how this is going to work. The important thing is I don't care if you're a single guy or if you're one person who has, 2 or 3 or 5 people in your organization. The sooner you grasp this and the sooner you teach this concept, the faster your business is going to grow. Because someday in your business, you will have 5 or 10 or 100 or 200 or 1,000 or 5,000 distributors in your organization. So when do you want to start teaching this concept? Do you want to teach it when you have the organization, or do you want to teach it now? Because if you teach it now, your check is going to grow faster, and this is going to show up right in your personal business. So first of all, be committed yourself, and then teach every single person that you bring into this business this concept. And again, we're telling you to spend money that you're already spending. Just spend it on Herbalife. But what we did was, as an example, just to show you the kind of money that you yourself personally can generate in your organization by teaching this very simple concept. It's actually mind-blowing. We took this and we said, okay, take $150 worth of products and a month that an average family is spending, shift it to the Herbalife plan, and say you have, let's take a big number here, 300 people in your organization, okay? Now, if 300 people in your organization, and believe me, if you stick with this business, you will have 300 people in your organization.
Really, let's catch that for a minute, because some of you are thinking, I could never get 300. We'll come back to that. You could. We've got thousands of distributors in our organization, but you know how many we've personally trained? It's under a couple of dozen. It's under a couple of dozen, and through the power of duplication has turned into thousands. So you think you could over the course of a few years find 10 or 15 people to teach some of these fundamentals to? It'll turn into literally thousands. So let's come back to that 300 number.
Yeah. And again, you got to grasp it. You got to understand the power of this. This is so powerful, and this is such a simple thing to incorporate. And it's something that if you really grasp and hold on, like I said, right today, Start training yourself today and start training every distributor sponsor today these concepts, and it will grow so fast, you'll be amazed. But we took that $150 worth of products, timesing by 300 distributors. Remember, I'm not waiting till I have 300, I'm doing it right now. But if they just shift that 300 distributors, that's going to equal to 45,000 volume points in your business for 1 month. 45,000 volume points just because people are shifting. We didn't even go into weight loss, targeted health products, nutrition products. We didn't even touch that stuff. We're just talking about very, very simple product shifting here.
That is amazing to me. 300 consumers amounts to $45,000 worth of product per month that right now is going to a competitor company. That is amazing.
Yep.
Shift it, it goes to our dream company.
And now if you times that by 12 months out of the year, your organization will generate 540,000 volume points worth of business. That's over $500,000 worth of business. And you're not doing anything more difficult right now than just teaching people how to shift their spending. That's all you have to do. Now, what does that translate? Very minimally, and this is very, very minimally, this doesn't even count a lot above and beyond extras, but very, very minimally, you're going to earn just around $30,000 a year, okay? Now, $30,000 a year is what Kurt and I were supporting our family on before we started Herbalife. You can literally support a family on $30,000 a year. So
we did. Family of 5. It was a challenge, but we did it.
But do you see how by shifting, just shifting that over, getting that in your mind and teaching that into your organization from day one, because like I said, or like Kurt said, we have thousands of people in our organization. Could you imagine, we just told you 300 people here. And as your organization grows and duplicates, and if everybody gets this concept down right from day one, and that's what we do in our organization, we teach people from day one the importance of buying from your own store, not a competitor. I mean, what would it be if I owned a Pizza Hut, and but I didn't like my own pizzas, and I would go over to Domino's and buy my pizza from Domino's. What would everybody think about my pizza if I wouldn't even eat my own pizza? I mean, you really need to learn how to be convicted with your own, have the conviction of your own products, the value of your own products, the importance of your own products. And then when you get that conviction down, you'll teach that and you will see something duplicate that's incredible.
And remember, our topic is, what kind of business am I in? All right? Even in the example you gave about the Pizza Hut, there is no way that you would be able to get compensated as well for consumer shifting, as you do here. Okay? So that is powerful. That's a fundamental in your business. Get it down, commit to it, and it has a potential of you will be amazed at where it can bring you and all together where we bring this company that is helping to provide our dream money. Okay? So remember what our topic is. Let's go back to our outline here. We're talking about the 3 things we each need to do in this business. Number 1, use the products. That's what we just covered. Okay, second thing we all need to do in this business is create personal volume. Okay, what is creating personal volume? There are a couple of different ways we do that. The first way is through our own personal consumption. We just covered that. By using the products, you're creating personal volume, which is bought from Herbalife because of you and your personal business. Okay, second way we create personal volume is through developing a consumer group. What's a consumer group? That's people who buy products from you because they want the results of the products. You've heard it called retail customers. Of course, they could move into, HAP, and then technically, I don't know if retail is really technically the name, but here it is. It's a group of people that you sell products to, and all they want from this business is to get results on the products. That's it. They're not interested in making money. So you get your customers, or your customer group is what that is. It's the second way we produce personal volume. And I think those are the main ones that are truly, genuinely lasting, what we would call stable personal volume. Meaning, you get customers that love the products, they're going to keep buying month after month after month, very, very stable. Now, there's a second form of personal volume that we would call unstable, and it's a good volume if you understand what it's for. And that's, you can create personal volume when you sponsor a distributor. And if that distributor buys an inventory before they're fully qualified supervisors, sometimes they'll buy up to a supervisor inventory, that volume you're creating is still personal volume you're created from your sponsoring activity. And that's a kind of volume I call unstable. What do I mean by that? You get paid for it one time. When the person hits supervisor, that's it. And unless that inventory gets sold, the volume won't repeat itself. Okay? So the whole goal is keep this. So let me take one side. Well, let's clarify that before I take the side trip. I'm great at taking side trips. But you're going to want to, okay, so those are really the three main ways of creating personal volume. Through your own personal use, development of a customer base, and recruiting. Now, I'm going to tell you though, write this down. We don't recruit to try to find personal volume. Don't make recruiting a reason to reach a personal volume goal. If you do, you're missing the true value of recruiting. The reason we want to sponsor people, sometimes called recruiting, is because we want to find someone in our team to teach them how to develop their business. So I look at the personal volume from sponsoring as an extra bonus. Okay? So,
but we can create personal volume those ways. And
yes.
so, that's one of the things that we want to say as far as what you need to do in this business. You need to use the products, you need to create personal volume, and those are ways to create personal volume: retail sales and wholesale sales. Mm-hmm. Now, the stable volume coming out of consumers and personal use, you're going to pretty much see that in there month after month after month. That's why we call that stable volume. Mm-hmm. It's money that we can count on month after month after month. Now, when you go into the recruiting volume, we call that unstable volume because, well, say this month I decide that I'm going to recruit some people and I bring some volume into my business, some wholesale volume into my business. Well, what if next month I get really busy and I don't recruit, or for whatever reason, I could end up with zero volume in my personal volume in my business because I didn't recruit somebody. So when, again, putting that value on, where should I put my time and effort? If I just want to recruit distributors or supervisors and not create a personal volume base of consumers and personal use, if I don't recruit, my volume is going to be zero, and that's very, very unstable volume. Mm-hmm. So where's the balance and where's the value? You need them both.
So the most important thing when you're thinking about personal volume is keep in mind, where does Herbalife really get the money from? Here it is in its foundational form: people consuming the products. So volume that is there because people are consuming the products on their inside or outside, that's stable volume that'll be there forever. It's the good, real volume, and recruiting volume will lead us toward that. If you don't understand all that, don't worry, we'll get into more detail about that. So the first thing we all do in this business, use a product. Second thing, create personal volume. The third thing that we can choose to do in this business, if you want to really create wealth, the third thing is teach others. And what do we teach others how to do? We teach others how to do these three things. Number one, use the products. Number two, create personal volume. And number three, teach others how to use the products, create personal volume, and teach others. And that's where this thing can continue to go on and on and on. If you're teaching people all three, can you see how they're going to keep on teaching and it's going to keep going? That's why this is a business of duplication. Now, we're going to go into more detail on how that works, but let's break this down a little bit. How do those three things that we all do really fit into this? What are the things you teach? Kurt, Cindy, let's not be so vague on that. Well, there are really three key groups that you can build in your business. And those three groups are, number one, a consumer group. Number two, a volume producer group. Number three, a group of builders. All right? And the things you teach as you learn are the things that each of those groups need to know. Now, here's what I'm going to suggest you do. If you haven't ever done this, take a sheet of paper, draw out the columns like you've seen on the screen there, and draw out the three columns and write the name of each group on there and put it on your bulletin board. And number it from, say, 1 to 25. And put a slot for a name. And then as you fill those groups of people up, I'll tell you, by the time that page is filled, Powerful. Our page isn't even completely filled yet, is it?
No.
Our page is not completely filled. I think we're halfway filled with that, and Herbalife paid us over $1 million last year. Okay? This is the foundation of the business that if you catch it, it's powerful. Now, what does the consumer group need to be taught? Well, the question comes, what does a consumer group want to learn? What are they looking for? Why would someone become a consumer? Well, they're looking for results on the products. So what do you need to teach a consumer group to do? Get product results. Simple as that. Is that something you can learn how to do? Do you see how it was important to do the first thing? Use the products? If you've gotten results on the products, you can teach others to get results. So don't think you have to be a major expert. You really don't. And if you can teach one person how to get results on the products, you can teach as many as you want. So that's what we mean by teach. Build that consumer group through teaching. Really, if you get a consumer group that's up to 25 total, and each of them buys 100 volume points a month, that is a foundation to the marketing plan that is powerful.
And what you can do with that sheet in that 1 through 25 is what you can do, and this is what we do, we actually have this pasted on our wall. And so when I get a new consumer, I write them down in that, that slot on 1 through 25. Now, if I should get a consumer that drops out, then I look and say, geez, I really have a goal to keep 25 consumers in my business. Now I need to go find another consumer to replace the one that's dropped out. And then the same with your volume producers and your builders. As soon as you have somebody who's producing volume, and Kurt's going to explain more about that, you put that name in there, physically put that name in there. If you get somebody that drops out, then you know you need to go and replace that name.
Now, and here's a suggestion for that too. You might want to look and say, before I write a person's name in there, they must become, write this down, a product lover. Okay? So you've got a customer, and now you're working with them. What are you going to teach them how to do? Get product results. What happens if they get product results? They become a product lover. What happens if they're a product lover? They want the products the rest of their lives, okay? And if you've got 25 product lovers in there, you've got something powerful. And so that's your consumer group. So that's what you teach them. So a third thing we need to do is teach others how to build a consumer group. All right, second group we need to teach is your volume producer. A volume producer, these are people that you saw the ways we produce personal volume. Well, a volume producer is someone who wants to learn how to do that part of the business. And that has potential of going, some people make a really nice part-time or full-time income. Depends on how big you want that to get. That can be a pretty substantial income through developing. What do they need to learn? They need to learn how to develop a consumer group. Primarily. Does that cover it?
Yep, and you'll find people in your business who say, I really like the idea of coming into this business. I don't know if I want to do that whole thing and sponsor people and all that, but you know what, I love these products. I want to sell these products. And those are what we call volume producers. They really love the products. They're happy to sell them to their friends and family or customers, however they find them, but they really don't, for whatever reason, think that they want to sponsor people. And those people are absolutely incredible people that you want in your business. Now, if any time along the line they say, you know what, I'm really getting the hang of this, I've really got this down, I can see me sponsoring somebody in this business and they want to move into a builder stage, great. But volume producers are people who basically say, you know what, I'm happy to build my business, I'm happy to have a business just by retailing to customers and wholesaling products to customers, but that's all I want to do, and great.
Now, if you're brand new in the business, don't get hung up that you have to be a major teacher and understand all this. When we're talking about teach them what they need to know, it's pretty simple. They're going to learn it from the STSs. Going to learn it. Your sponsorship line may have training programs that's going to help them learn. The main thing is when you teach, 3 things we do: use the products, create personal volume, teach others. When you teach others, as long as you teach what you learn as you learn it to someone else who wants to learn it, it will build. Remember the alphabet? Learn A first, then learn B, then learn C. Later you'll learn words, and now reading is like second nature.
Yeah,
Same concept.
I remember when I first, I was a customer first, and I was buying the products from my sponsor, and then as I decided that we wanted to do we decided we wanted to do the business, and I talked to my sponsor about that. And one of our first conversations was he brought up some ingredient in the green, and I remember walking out of there thinking, I'll never be able to learn this. Oh my gosh, you have to know all these different ingredients, and you have to know what they do and what's in what, and I was very afraid because I thought I'll never get this. And now it's like the back of my hand, I know it, but
But you never had to teach that either. What did you teach? She taught people.
I taught what I learned.
And I remember really when those first consumers, what you taught was, I use these products, I feel great, the energy is unbelievable, I lost 30 pounds. That's what you taught.
Yep.
And that's how we got our consumers.
And that was simple. And
You
then,
taught
of
your
course,
results.
as you need to know, you begin to learn more and more as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we made $1 million last year. I didn't even think I could even learn what the products were when I first started. So
it's phenomenal. So your consumer or your volume producer group, really, they just need to be taught how to develop a consumer group. So once, follow the progression here. Once you can teach someone how to get results on the product, you're building your consumer group. Now you know how to build a consumer group, even if you've only built one. So when someone wants to learn how to be a volume producer, you just teach them how to get a consumer group. Pretty simple. Teach them how to do what you did. And then that third group that we all need to build is, if we want to get, this is the key to royalties. Okay, those first two will give you the product, that first form of income we talked about, the product sales-based income and commission. Okay, but this third group is a real key to royalty. And the third group is builders, those who want to get wealthy, create financial independence. They need to learn how to build all three of these groups. Okay, and don't worry, we'll get more into that one. There will be other shows to this series that go a little more in depth on that, but this is kind of the fundamentals at this stage. So, should we take a look at how this all ties together?
yeah, it's very powerful.
Okay, let's look at this. So with all those fundamentals we just went through, we want to talk about how it really fleshes out in your business. Okay, so let's look at an example here where you're taking those three things we all need to do, and the first thing you start doing is you use the products. So you're doing everything, you're cleaning the competitor stuff out of the house, and then you're going to go to work and start building those three groups. Now, as you're building your consumer group, let's move forward in time a little bit to the point where you've got 2,500 volume points being produced every month in your business, okay? And that's going to be the foundational note we're going to make here. Now, you can build all of these groups at the same time if you want. You can build a consumer group first, get it done, and then build a volume producer group, get it done, and then build the builder group if you want. Or you can build two of them at once, or you can look for people in all three groups at the same time, which is the fastest way to go, as long as you're looking for people in all three groups and ready to teach them what they need to know as they go. So let's say, though, your goal is going to be to seek 5 people who want to join your builder group who also want to build all three groups. And you're going to teach them to find ultimately 5 who want to do the same as they build these other groups to get up to 2,500 volume points. Let's move forward in your business to the point where now you're a supervisor and you've got that personal volume going of 2,500, and by the time you've sponsored 5 who will do the same 3 things, use the products, create personal volume, and teach others to the point where they're at 2,500 volume points. Let's look at that first level. And what you'd be doing in your business there is your income between retail, wholesale, and royalty can add up to about $1,875, okay? About $1,800 at that stage. Now, because those first 5 you've taught them, you're teaching them how to do what you do, what did you do? You sponsored 5 and taught 5 yourself how to do this, so you're going to teach them to do the same. So now they're going to, what's that magic word? They're going to duplicate this thing. So let's look at the point where now you teach them how to get their groups to the point where they've each only found 4 people to fill their builder group. And by the time each of them is at 2,500 personal volume points, at that stage of building, your income between royalty and retail and wholesale can be in the neighborhood of about $5,600, $5,625 to be exact. So you start to see the power of duplication multiply out. Now let's take that one step further. I mean, they're still building. Maybe you want to get more than that. Maybe you don't. But this is an example to show you how it works. Now, by the time those 20 in what we call your second level that you get paid royalty on, by the time they have only duplicated this to the point where they found 3 that have produced their groups up to the point of 2,500 per month, your income now can be up to $24,625, and your president's team.
Per month.
Per month. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And that's when this thing isn't even built. And you saw what portion of that is coming from consumer shifting. I mean, this is this is mind-boggling. It's powerful. So that you be president's team just by that point. The key is, can you just learn these simple 3 things, how to do them? Can you teach them to a handful of people who want to learn how to do them? And then make sure they're teach them how to teach it to their people. It's powerful. Let's take this one step further. By the time everyone in that example in your first 3 levels has found their 5 each, your monthly income can be as high as $43,875. Powerful.
And believe us, it's
Powerful.
true. It not only happened to us, it happened to many, many people in Herbalife. And that's, again, the power of duplication. And, again, I said in the beginning how when I first started the business, I wasn't sure. What should I do? How much retail should I do? How much sponsoring should I do? What's more important? And, a lot of people are confused about that. They say, well, I don't want to spend any time retailing. I just want to sponsor people because that's how I get the check. And other people say, well, sponsoring people is wrong or bad. I just want to retail. And, people get confused because they don't see the value in each particular group. And Kurt and I will beg to argue with you that we feel that all 3 of those groups are extremely valuable, extremely critical, and extremely important in your business to have a healthy, balanced business. So if somebody joins my business and they say to me, I don't really want to do this thing. I don't want to go all the way. I just want to sell products to my friends and family and don't talk to me about building wealth or any of that. I don't want to do any of that. And, some people will say, you know what, I don't want them in my business because I only want people who want to build, want to be builders and who want to build wealth. I don't want somebody who just wants to use the products, or I don't want somebody who just wants to, find a few customers. I want to go for the big guy. And so what a lot of people do is they'll kind of just leave those guys alone looking for the big guys. And I'm telling you, that's a big, big mistake. Everybody that joins your business, whether they just want to be a consumer and use the products and fall in love with them, whether they just want to use the products and find a few customers, or if there's somebody who says, yeah, I want to go all the way and be a builder. Each one has their place. Each one is critically and extremely valuable. And we have all of those people in our business, and we treat them all the same with the same equal value. And so hopefully that will help put into perspective for you, how much time do I spend here? How much time do I spend there? Well, you know what? It's your business. All of that is your business, and you need to spend time in all of those places.
So, real quick recap on that. What kind of business am I in? Business of duplication. Where does the money come from? Bottom line, people consuming products. How do I take advantage then of that whole thing? I build the 3 groups: consumer group, volume producer group, and a builder group. The key to royalty is a builder group. Now with each of these groups, what do I need to teach? The 3 fundamental things we all do: use the products, create personal volume, teach others. If I teach others how to teach this, the thing duplicates. So what's the magic word? Duplication. And that's where the power of this business is. So with that,
stay tuned. We're going to continue. We're going to have more powerful stuff to teach you in our series here.
Well, that's it for the fundamentals of the business. Thank you very much, everybody.